Hello, I am Influencer, and today I will lecture you about shooting. This video is about general and specific advice if you want to shoot a brutality match. Now, we have noticed that on the upcoming Links Brutality Match, there are a lot of new shooters registered. That's fine, but I would like to give people some advice because the last thing we want to do is have an accident or a DQ. So let's start with the most boring, but also the most important part, safety. Now, of course, all 4 basic safety rules apply, and they should apply to everywhere, not just competitions. But for the competition setting, we also have additional rules that have to comply with the shooting range and also the competition rules. Now, first thing that's probably different than your normal range time is that you're not allowed to handle your firearms unless you are in the safety zone. And when you're in the safety zone, everything has to be unloaded and no loaded magazines in the safety zone. But if you're anywhere else on the shooting range, you can load magazines and handle ammo, but not your guns. Specific rule also for the range, you need to have a safety chamber flag in the rifle or your pistol empty and holstered the whole time. When you're shooting at the stage, there are the same safety rules that apply everywhere, and then maybe a certain stage has additional safety rules because of the shooting range or certain settings. Now, the basics are that finger off the trigger, and if you're not shooting, you have to have your gun on safe. When you're moving, when you're changing positions, put your gun on safe, put the finger off the trigger. Muzzle has to be towards the safe direction all times. What I recommend is if you have targets in that direction, you always keep the muzzle in that direction. So even if you're moving in different directions, I would keep the muzzle pointed there. Now, for some of the stages, we have the 180-degree rule. So you can actually move the muzzle off the target to up to 180 degrees. That means that if that's my target, if that's safe direction, up to 180 degrees. Now, in practice, the RO will try to warn you and stop you before you cross this line, but if you cross it, that's a DQ. If you aim your gun at something that is unsafe, even if you have your finger on the trigger and you aim at the steel barricade right in front of you, that could be a DQ. Accidentally firing a round, DQ. Firing the round in the backstop or in the ground, closer to 3 meters towards you, DQ. Dropping a loaded gun during a stage, DQ. Accidentally muzzling yourself, DQ. Holstering a loaded gun, DQ. Disregarding the safe direction, you guessed it, DQ. My point is, read the rules, read them carefully, and follow them all the time. Especially if this is your first shooting competition or a first brutality match, do not worry about your score, do not worry about your shooting, always focus on your safety. Because if you get DQ'd, that means that you're not allowed to shoot anymore, even the next day. You can just go home, and there's no refund for DQ. Now, we have talked about this extensively, especially with Ian from Forgotten Weapons. Essentially, brutality matches are not PvP, so it's not player versus player or competitor versus competitor. It's more about PvE. It's competitor against the competition. You try to give your best, good shooting performance under stress. You're trying to beat the stages, you're trying to beat the obstacles and shoot well under stress and exhaustion. Now, where we usually see the problem is that people get overwhelmed. If you're not used to competitions, if you're not used to stress, if you're not used to 10 really good shooters looking and judging you when you're shooting the stage, and also the timer and the stress of trying to remember the stage, do all of the tasks correctly, and just the physical exhaustion because you will be doing some hard tasks. And if you combine all of that, and then you also try to shoot well, people usually forget about some safety rules. Oh, also, have a quality holster. I really recommend with a level 2 retention, so you do not drop your handgun, because that's one of the most common DQs. And the other one is have a quality sling, not some Chinese stuff, so it does not break during the stage, because that was also one of the things that we saw last year. If you drop your long gun, it's a DQ. Let's change the topic. Hand grenades, flashbangs, smoke grenades. How to use them properly. So the pyrotechnical devices have a body, they have a fuse and the igniter, and they have this spoon. This is a safety device. So when you grab it, you have to hold the safety device. You can hold it in this direction, or if you're left-handed, you can hold it in this direction. The spoon and the spring is not powerful enough to push your fingers away. Now, correctly, if you're a left-handed shooter or user, you could also do it in this way, because some militaries teach that you have to have the spoon towards your palm. But I'm going into too much details. Essentially, hold the spoon. Second thing that you have to do is, this is the safety ring that you have to pull to initiate the device. So what you have to do to pull the ring, it's not as simple as just pulling it, because you'll probably break it or it will not go out. It's held in with this plastic device here. So you first have to just push it away like this. Now it's free on this side. And then on the other side, it has a split something. And what you want to do is to push it a bit together. So when you will have to pull the ring, it will be easier. So as long as you're holding the spoon, nothing should happen. But we do not recommend pulling the ring and then running around and doing stuff with a live grenade in your hand. There's a 1 to 2 second delay, so it's very fast. It goes off, and that's it. Now, for using these devices, hearing protection and eye protection is mandatory, but since we are on the live fire range, everyone should have that already. I'm explaining this because you will probably have to use 1 or 2 or 5 of those during the stages. Well, this is made in a way that it should be safe to people, even at close ranges. It has a foam body, but this is the plastic fuse and the plastic detonator. Those are hard parts, and they can fly towards you and they hurt if they hit you in the face. So I would not recommend standing up close and looking at this thing, but if you want, you can. Not my problem anymore. Next thing, a tourniquet. You will have to apply the tourniquet correctly, at least at one of the stages at Lynx Brutality, or maybe some other brutalities. If you're a shooter and if you don't know how to properly apply a tourniquet, I don't know, you're an idiot, I guess. I think every shooter should know at least the basics of first aid for gunshot wounds, and tourniquet is definitely one of them. So when you have to apply it at a stage, the arrows will be looking at 2 things. If the tourniquet, 3 things actually. If the tourniquet is high enough, because we're going for high and tight. Second thing will be that you have nothing under the tourniquet, so you don't have any mags or stuff that could impede the proper operation of the tourniquet. And the third thing that they will be looking at is proper compression. So, when you're applying a tourniquet, it has to hurt. Ow. If the arrow can easily put a finger between your leg and the tourniquet, that will be a penalty. So that is not okay. Just some random things that might or might not help you at this competition. Do you maybe know how to get out of these plastic cuffs? Do you know how to get out of normal handcuffs? Have you ever did force on force? Do you know how to evade an enemy? Do you know how to climb a rope? Do you know how to rappel? Have you ever cleared a minefield? I think that's enough. And now for the end of the video, something that sounds so lame, but it's usually the most important part in your performance. Have your guns zeroed. Have them zeroed correctly. Take your time, and also, additionally, know your holdovers. So if you zero it at a certain distance, know which distance it is, and what happens if you shoot at shorter distances or longer distances. And this is not just for your rifle, also for your pistol. Yes, the distance of engagement will be the maximum of 150 meters. For pistol, maybe 40 meters. That doesn't sound that bad, but think about small targets, very close engagement ranges, and think about what happens if you have to shoot from strained shooting position, so not completely straight and normal as you would. That's it from my side. Hope to see you soon, and goodbye.